All right, as fate would have it, we have a little synergy on the show tonight. So last night at AEW Revolution, they were promoting Queen of the Ring, this new wrestling movie. You see it on Van Vliet's podcast, and maybe some. Oh, that's right, Gabby, you had two of the stars on your podcast in the last week. So, what was her name? Damaris? Did I get that right? Damaris Lewis?
Yes, Damaris Lewis.
All right, so Damaris, clearly AEW doesn't know what the hell they're doing with their celebrities or their interviews. Because if that would happen on a WWE show, this never would have happened. So she was asked in a live interview from the second row or first row a question about, what did you learn from doing this? I learned that they know they're going to win before the match even starts. I'm paraphrasing. And social media has lit her up. To go on a microphone, Gabby, and say, we all know it's fake. We all know it's choreographed. We all know if we're going to win or lose, when little Johnny is sitting 2 seats away going, Mom, what's going on? But you had them on your podcast. I'll let you go first. Defend this.
Oh, well, okay. So I had Damaris Lewis. She plays Babs Wingo in the movie. And I had Kaylee Latimer, who is known as Kamille in AEW. I had them together on my podcast.
Okay.
And it was a super fun podcast. We talked about the film. I talked about their inspiration. You know, Damaris is a model / actress, whereas Kamille is an actual wrestler. So it was cool to get the dynamic between the two. She was very respectful of pro wrestling when I spoke with her. She talked about how hard it was for her to train, how much she had to learn, that she didn't think it was going to be as much work as it was, and she was pleasantly surprised by how much she loved it. So all she said to me was positive things. This was clearly, obviously, before AEW. She said nothing that deemed inappropriate or would have been gone crazy. And you could tell that these two were actually friends in real life. They were very friendly with each other and happy to be there. And she was very, very sweet. I don't blame her for this, because if you don't know at the end of the day how bad it is to say that, and no one's prepping you before you're on TV, and no one's, saying, oh, what are you going to say when you get this answer? Like, shouldn't they be telling you these kinds of things until you say something like that?
That's where we're going to go. That's where we're going.
And that's why I feel bad for her, because was very respectful of pro wrestling speaking to me and very sweet. And I don't think she meant to say it in a way with all this backlash happening.
Okay. So now, Tommy, for many, many years, you were the stage manager out at ringside. So for an interview like this, that would have been you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so the writers would have prepped her beforehand, given her the question, and probably given her the answer. The fact that was an AEW show, very, very telling. How do they let that slip through the cracks and then not know what she was going to say? And then Kamille today on social media is like, well, she meant this because she found out this while filming. Nobody knows the background. Nobody cares about the background. This was as egregious as you can make it, Tommy. What would you have done?
Well, my job there is to find out what you want to talk, what are you going to talk about, what are you going to promote, and if it's a no, we're not going to do that, we're going to go here. I'd almost tell them. And here's another big thing, Coach. We rehearsed everything, especially somebody outside of the business like her, an actress, and doing this. For her to come out and say that, Tony Schiavone was like, are you kidding me?
Can you imagine?
I can't believe she just said that, but we rehearsed it. I remember I had a thing with Michael Clarke Duncan. We were in L.A. He was promoting the Green Mile, but he wanted to talk about a million other things. I was, excuse me, sir, we're going to go to one question and one question only. He goes, no, I want to talk about this. I told Kevin Dunn, you know what we did? We did a shot of him. Hey, there's Michael Clarke Duncan. That was it. We never did the interview.
Oh, my God. Every time we would have a celebrity, Gabby, and it didn't go away, you had Kevin Dunn in here, what the and you're like, okay, we're never doing that again. And I understand, Gabby, that you want to defend her, and I'm sure she's a very, very nice person. Yes. I blame AEW for this.
Right.
Totally.
I mean, and this kind of screams the problems that they have is the attention to detail is so bad that you have a pay-per-view where you're supposed to be your biggest show of the spring, and all anybody's talking about is an actress in a show called Queen of the Ring, and nothing about MJF or Moxley or Christian or Nothing. That's a problem. That is the overriding problem with this that nobody's talking about.
Yep.
You're not talking about the show. You're talking about her.
I can't believe how these athletes are. I can't believe I'm at a live show. I did the movie. Look at these guys in the ring. It is unbelievable. Something like that. Didn't hear none of that. And part of the problem is, Coach, Tony's flying by the seat of his pants. He's asking 2 questions that he knows. He has no idea what she was going to say. There's no floor manager there. It was just a pig fuck. Excuse my language.
No, I was going to say, not to mention I'm trying to veer off of this, Coach, because I can already tell you're stunned by what he just said. And by the way,
I just know my phone's going to go off in about 2 seconds.
Coach,
I have to answer these phone calls. Go ahead.
I believe you now. That's the Gabby effect. Just so you know, him saying that's the Gabby effect.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
But also, if you care so much about Queen of the Ring and you're going to show, why don't you have Kamille maybe do something on the actual show? Because she's the biggest AEW, like out of everybody that was involved in AEW, she has the biggest role in the actual movie. But we don't see her on the card at all. We don't even see her talking on the actual. When's the last time you've seen Kamille do anything in AEW? It's crazy to me. And you bring out the people she's in the movie with. She's not even on the show. Maybe have her with Damaris because maybe she could coach her because she's an actual wrestler. But you don't. You have 2 actresses. So you know what I'm saying? Like maybe think that through a little bit if you're going to do it. But what do I know?
All right, real quick. The other thing from that show that I absolutely hated also involved the women. The blood with.
I liked it.
You liked it?
I thought it was a beautiful story told, and it was epic.
But do we? I just don't like seeing women have blood and have the thumbtacks. It's unnecessary to me. But I know you're a badass woman, so you're going to disagree with me. I know that makes me sound. I'm not even saying that as a chauvinist or anything. I just don't like that in female wrestling. I never have.
Listen, I get it. I think it's more, and it's very divided with people that love it or people that hate it. You know, I think it's one of those things where you don't want to see it. And when you're used to not seeing it for so long in the business and now you see it over the top, you're like, ew, I don't like that at all. I appreciate it because I think it shows badass women. And I think because it was the 2 of them, it works because their storyline and the way it was finished was epic. It was cinema. It really was.
Tommy, your take on the blood and the ladies.
It was excessive, though, Coach. But that storyline is one of the best storylines that AEW has done to date. Look, she brought Mariah in. Mm-hmm. She was her girl. And then she stuck the knife into Tony Storm. And then Tony went away and came back. And she had amnesia. And she did this. Mm-hmm. But they told a great story. And they had all of their matches were physical, Coach. Let's just face it. It had to end in Hollywood. It was a Hollywood trilogy. It was a Hollywood ending. And that's why they did it last night in Los Angeles.
Tommy, you and I are going to meet after this show and have a little tete-a-tete. We're going to have a little tete-a-tete, you and I, because I don't like where this show is headed. Not one bit.
I don't know. I feel like when you're the problem when other people think the same thing. And
maybe I'll take the night off next week, and we'll see how
the 3 p.m. The 3 p.m. after Raw off because it's 3 p.m. next week.
Oh my God, I'm not even landing by then. So I don't know when we're a network show, Gabby.
Right.
We don't just change the time of our show.
What if
we're
I
a
asked
network
to?
show?
I'll call it the network. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Can you imagine David from Stadium? Gabby, tell Coach to call me. You don't call me the hotline. Don't call me on the hotline.